Hello, the internet. It's Jack O'Brien, the founder and former editor-in-chief of Crack.com and the host of the new comedic news podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist, which, as the name suggests, is daily and sporadically in German. If you like Cracked, How Stuff Works podcasts and want to get your news from some of the smartest and funniest comedic and journalistic minds around, well then, this show is going to make you all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think we can use that.
Sure we can. Go to Apple Podcasts to listen and subscribe.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dirt. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, dope?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
Together, we're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We get a fine individual that we're so very fortunate have supported our program and our movement for 6 years. Exactly what they want, when they want it, when they need it, radio, podcast, or television.
Happy Friday, everybody. Well, you remember 10 games into the season when the Cavs were 4-6 and everything was falling apart and we were concerned about LeBron and where's he going to go next year and everything. He posted that Arthur meme online. Well, guess what? Since then, they have gone 10-1. They have been on a tear. And then there was this game against the Hawks, the latest victim of LeBron and the Cavs, blocking shots. And then there's the volleyball spike block that he had on Taurean Prince. Jalen, the Cavs seem to be clicking on all cylinders. What has been the key to the Cavs turnaround?
A level of familiarity with the players around them. When you understand who's going to be out, so far it's been Isaiah Thomas, then Tristan Thompson, then Derrick Rose. It allows Ty Lue, it allows LeBron to survey the team and understand who's going to be available each night and how they can maximize each performer. But we all know it starts and ends with the greatness of LeBron James. As efficient as he's ever been from the floor, knocking down threes, giving you the points, the rebounds, the assists. You talked about the blocks and the leadership. But then Kevin Love, his productivity always gets overlooked. Posting up, making threes, grabbing boards. Jeff Green slashing in transition, finishing plays. J.R. Smith chipping in when he can. Dwayne Wade finding ways to be productive off the bench. It's been a collective team effort led by the King.
The Cavaliers are making a 12 threes a game. That is good for third in the league. LeBron James during this streak has shot 47.5% from three. Are the Cavs going to live or die by the three?
Not at all. This is what they've done the last couple of seasons, and it's made them so very successful. LeBron James basically likes a couple of performers out there with him. Either guys that are going to be energy players like Tristan Thompson that don't need the ball, that are going to rebound, hustle, and block shots and defend, or guys that are shooters. And when you surround the floor with shooters and LeBron James, now you have to make a choice. And that's what defenses have been put in the quandary of trying to stop LeBron from getting to the paint, which he's been doing at a high rate, finishing, and even making his free throws, or kicking it out to open teammates where they can be productive. And also another player that they've been missing is Iman Shumpert as well.
Exactly. Well, you mentioned Dwayne Wade, and he looked pretty washed early in the year, but he has turned it around. And LeBron James spoke with The Athletic, and he offered a very revealing quote about the Cavs players' reaction to the addition of Dwayne Wade. LeBron said, quote, "There was a couple guys with it, but it wasn't a lot. I still know what he's capable of doing. Why wouldn't you want another guy in the locker room that brings a championship mentality and a guy who can still play? So, of course, it bothered me, but bleep it. It is what it is." Jalen, why do you think some Cavs were hesitant about adding Dwayne Wade to the team?
Well, number one is, whose spot he going to be playing? Oh, mine? You'll take my minutes? Hold on, let me think about this, man. Hold on, I'll get back to you. Number one. And number two, based on the dynamics I just told you, yes, as LeBron mentioned, Dwayne Wade is a truly accomplished player, is going to go down as a Hall of Famer, and has still been productive with the Cavs. But when you watch it on paper, when he and Derrick Rose were starting at the beginning of the year, not really spreading the floor, not able to knock down the three, didn't provide LeBron James the space he needed in order to be productive. I came on this program as a big Wade supporter and said, that won't last 10 games. And now when you look at their team, neither he nor Rose is in the starting lineup. LeBron James has found the room to flourish.
Well, if you look at these numbers, you've got Dwayne Wade before and after LeBron James posted the Arthur meme. And you can see that since those first 11 games, Dwayne Wade has really upped his production. He's now scoring 13 points a game. He's shooting 45% from the floor, 50% from three. And a lot of this is, as you mentioned, because he's working with the second unit. Do you think that they will continue with this style as they go into the playoffs and through the regular season?
Absolutely. This is why and how this roster was built, to have Rose, to have Wade, to have the players that they acquired in the offseason come in and be contributors off the bench, and have Isaiah Thomas and Crowder, players that they acquired in the Kyrie Irving trade, be guys that are out there every night when it's time to close, especially against small ball type lineups. And when Dwayne Wade is playing the way he's playing right now, he'll find his way into the lineup, depending on how well J.R. Smith is knocking down the three that night.
Well, it certainly seems like the Cavs have figured out how to incorporate these new players that you mentioned, but it also seems like Oklahoma City is still having trouble with it. They are now 20 games into the season, 8-12 after adding Paul George and Carmelo Anthony in the offseason. Things have gone bad for them. They've lost to Sacramento. They've lost to the Mavs. They got blown out by the Magic recently. Reporters spoke with Carmelo Anthony about what's been happening, and here's what he had to say.
Nobody is moping around. Nobody is frustrated. I think guys are angry. I think guys are pissed. But I just come from, your competitive nature, wanting to win games.
Do you think like a lineup change or anything significant?
No, hell no. No, not at all. I mean, we're fine, man. It's just like I said, it's on us to, figure out how we're going to be, consistent.
Jalen, how concerned do you think the Thunder should be about their slow start?
The Thunder players, in particular their big three, shouldn't be concerned at all, because they're on multi-year contracts, in particular Carmelo, who has another year left. Russell Westbrook just signed a major deal as the reigning MVP. And Paul George is going to have his choice at the end of the year whether he stays or goes. The person that should be worried is Billy Donovan. This is what happens in these scenarios. You put together a super team on paper, and while it doesn't fit perfectly and you don't get off to a terrific start, now all of a sudden you're looking around saying, can somebody else be a better voice for this team? What is Mark Jackson doing these days? What is David Fizdale doing these days? These are the kind of conversations now that start to happen if this team doesn't find a way to turn it around.
There has been talk about Billy Donovan's job security. There's also some talk about potentially bringing Carmelo Anthony off the bench. If you remember, during Media Day, Carmelo was asked about that exact proposal, and here's his response.
Well, me? Oh.
I guess that answers that part.
I mean, I don't know where that started, where that came from. Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
Jalen, do you think it is realistic that Carmelo Anthony could potentially come off the bench?
Not in this scenario, because likely when he agreed to a trade to the Oklahoma City Thunder, these probably one of the things that was discussed, that not only he will be in the starting lineup, but he will be playing the 4 spot. So I don't think they're going to be able to renege on that agreement. But what I do see happening is when they go against the 4s that are able to play closer to the basket, get rebounds, be a lot more physical than Carmelo Anthony, what they're going to do is start him and then take him out of the game early and bring him back in with the second unit. That's what I see taking place a lot more as the season progresses.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? how much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jalen, the 49ers' Eric Reid says the NFL's proposed $89 million social justice commitment is a charade. He's alleging that the funds to fund this deal are actually supposed to go to Salute to Service and to breast cancer awareness. They would just reallocate some of that to fund this. He told Slate.com, quote, "In the discussion that we had, Malcolm conveyed to us, based on discussions that we had with the NFL, that the money would come from funds that are already allocated to breast cancer awareness and Salute to Service. So it would really be no skin off the owners' backs. They would just move the money from those programs to this one." In a memo, the NFL detailed that this would actually be incremental money. Jalen, what do you think about Reid's accusation that this would not be extra money from the NFL owners?
Faith is taking the first step without seeing the entire staircase. And I salute Colin Kaepernick because had he not taken his stance initially, we would not be having this upwards of a $100 million conversation from the NFL owners and the league to potentially influence the scenarios that he hoped to see get accomplished. With that being said, I'm rolling with Eric Reid on this.
Explain.
Because when you're shifting the money, it's not really giving to the cause. When you're not doing PSAs, it's not truly enlightening the people. It's not truly making that level of difference that Colin Kaepernick did, by the way, when he sacrificed his football career. Yeah. Because the last time I checked, look at some NFL rosters and some quarterbacks that have got injured this year. Colin Kaepernick is one of the best 32 individuals to play quarterback on this earth.
Absolutely.
But because he chose to protest, now he's not in the NFL. So I'm disappointed that overall it seems like Malcolm Jenkins and Quan Bolton aren't seeing eye to eye with the other 40-plus players in the coalition. That includes Eric Reid, who was the initial person who took a knee with Colin Kaepernick. Though Colin isn't in the room, Eric is clearly a voice of reason to represent his best interest to try to understand the true picture of what he hoped to get accomplished. So if that's not taking place, I would suggest that the players don't sign on the dotted line. Don't accept the bread just yet. Look at the fine print and understand what you're getting into and hope that you're getting what you seek in return before it actually takes place. You come too far not to get what you want at this point.
As you mentioned, it is kind of not exactly clear that the NFL players are going to get what they want in this deal quite yet, but it seems like the owners already are getting what they want. You mentioned Malcolm Jenkins, the Eagles safety, who also co-founded the Players Coalition. He has gone on wax and said that he will no longer protest during the anthem, which is exactly what the owners wanted. What do you think about Jenkins' statement that he will no longer protest based on this $89 million deal?
Well, what I don't like is ultimately all of these individuals are trying to be beacons for peace, try to be beacons for change. And almost like I saw it happen with MLK and Malcolm X back in the day, they ultimately, for public consumption, are going to be pent against one another because they can't agree on exactly how they want to get to the end game. So I feel bad for Malcolm Jenkins. I feel bad for Mr. Reid.
That's a good point.
Because ultimately, this should be a positive that everybody can celebrate, that we're trying to get closer to a solution that everybody's proud of, yet they're going to be at odds for public consumption. And now so many people are going to be sitting back and saying, see, that's what I mean. How can we help them when they can't get along with one another? So that's the part that really irks me, and it's unfortunate that it's playing out like that.
Are you surprised that Malcolm Jenkins is no longer going to protest during the anthem?
I'm not surprised. And by the way, I'm not going to pass judgment on that, because whether he decided to protest one time or 100 times, that is his goal. Now, you are going to have people looking at you some type of way when they look deeper into the box score and they're like, wait a minute, Papa John's came out and spoke against the protests. Okay, Jerry Jones did too. Well, Jerry Jones owns a lot of Papa John's. Oh, man, wait. Malcolm Jenkins owns a Papa John's too. So now people are like, oh, hold on now. Are you really trying to go after your best interest versus going after the best interest of the entire coalition? And again, Malcolm Jenkins, Anquan Bolden, Eric Reed, Colin Kaepernick, all of these gentlemen have been beacons for change. They have all sacrificed at one level or another. But I just hate now that we're going to be able to pick straws as opposed to seeing everybody as a legitimate coalition to get towards a solution.
Well, we'll continue monitoring this on Jalen Jacoby. And we're also going to be monitoring the action in the NFL. Rob Gronkowski and the New England Patriots go into Buffalo to face the Bills, which means Bills Mafia tailgating, which means going through tables, heavy drinking, and more going through tables. When Rob Gronkowski at Thursday's press conference was asked about the Bills Mafia, remember he is from the Buffalo area, here's what he had to say about their antics.
Not at a tailgate, but I've been through tables before, for sure. Family get-togethers, I've definitely been growing up through tables.
Jalen, when the Rose family gets together, do you guys jump through tables?
I have one word for this entire conversation.
I know what it's going to be.
It's cultural.
It's cultural. It's very cultural.
It's cultural.
Some things aren't cultural. This is jumping through tables is definitely cultural. That one is for sure. Yep.
For some strange reason, people that look like me when we're having adult beverages, we may get a little angry, a little volatile, but we don't want to go jump through the chairs and hurt ourselves. If anything, we want to hurt somebody else.
Well, Jalen, one thing we can all agree on is $1 Long Island iced teas. For the entire month of December, Applebee's is offering $1 Long Island iced teas. In case you're not familiar with what exactly is in a Long Island iced tea, it is, listen, vodka, tequila, light rum, triple sec, gin, and a splash of cola. Jalen, how many $1 Long Island iced teas would it take before you jump through a table?
Not going to be able to do it. And also, you know the way you and I agree that we're not fans of buffets? Mm-hmm. I'm not fans of these $1 drinks.
Me neither.
Because you go to show up, there's going to be a million people there.
I don't want that. It's like a 25-cent taco. Like, I want to pay more than $1 if you're going to give me all the liquor that's in the bar. We always give the people what they want. Even on days we don't have radio, we always leave you with a dope pod to step to. So we will always tape exclusive podcast content for our podcast listeners. One thing we always do is go into our voicemail box. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. We love hearing from you. And if you leave us a good voicemail, we'll play it on the show just like this.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I go by Ape. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I just got done watching you guys on First Take, man. And Jalen, Stephen A. was hating on your frame game, man. I don't know if he was showing his age a little bit, but I don't know. I felt like he was hating a little bit too hard. But I have a soft move or boss move for you guys. When I watch games with my friends and it's their team that we're watching, I cheer for them. You know, I'm not a hater and just cheer for the other team to see, you see what I'm saying, trying to argue and stuff. But yeah, I'm a long time listener of the pod. You know, I only listen to it at work. That's the only way to do it. But yeah, holla at me, Jalen. I see you at that game in Orlando. I believe December 14th against the Pistons, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'll keep it short. Shout out to Reggie, man.
Shout out to Ape in Tampa.
Shout out.
A
couple of things.
You start.
Thank you for the shout. Appreciate the love. We appreciate the support, whether on J&J and on First Take. Yep. It was an honor to be on with Wifey, my brother David Jacoby, Max Kellerman, and Stephen A. Smith. That show is doing really well. It was a great look for us. Hopefully we can go on more often. Here's what I'll say. Stephen A. sees me like a little brother. Shout out. But I've grown up so fast. So now he sees me, he's like, wait a minute, you're doing too much. Like, the hair's wavy, you don't have the bumps on your face no more. Then you got your teeth done. You're suited and booted. You're cleaner than the board of hell.
The ESPN put you on the news show.
15,000 TV shows.
You're on Countdown. You're on Get Up in the Morning, and you got your own show with your name on it.
Yeah, so he just like, trying to keep me on point, that's all. And by the way, he don't know nothing about Cavaliers. I know he's from New York City. That's my B-boy side. I tried to tell him, but, it is what it is. And the Cardis, I'm not going to argue about the Cardis. Those crisp and clean with no caffeine.
I will say, though, it's all love. You know what I mean? Like maybe Ape and Tampa might have felt like it was semi-serious or whatever. It is all love. And I really appreciate everyone, the staff, and the talent of First Take for allowing us to go out there. I also want to give you a little just behind the curtain, behind the scenes moment. I got a call from Jalen Rose. So we went on Thursday. I got a call on Monday. And it was the sole purpose of the call was he said, I know this is something that you don't care about. First of all, hurt my feelings. And then secondly, he says, but you got to be fresh on First Take. Like you were worried about me not being fresh. He's like, I'm talking about SB's fresh. Like, you put pressure on me. I had to go shopping on Wednesday. I was like, Jalen's gonna be mad if I don't look fresh on First Take. God,
my bad.
You were like worried about me.
My bad.
It was stressing me out a little bit. I was running around the stores like, man, I gotta get something to look good in.
But I didn't want you to think I was going to show up with a T-shirt and a baseball hat on. That's all.
That's what you do for our show. You know what I mean? That's what you do for our show. You never get a haircut for our show. You never put clothes on for our show. And that's why I love this show. Really appreciate the call.
This is the B-Boy show.
Quick question we have from TL Forever from Twitter.
Shout out.
During each intro, do you say, I'm the cool checking or chicken? What does it mean? Solve a lingering question for me and my husband, please.
Hey, Reg, can you cue it up, please, for the people? The Beastie Boys could say it way better than me.
The cool check-in, center stage on the mic, and we're putting it on wax. It's the new style.
Play it again.
Hello, the Internet. It's Jack O'Brien, the founder and former editor-in-chief of Crack.com and the host of the new comedic news podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist, which, as the name suggests, is daily and sporadically in German. If you like cracked, How Stuff Works podcasts and want to get your news from some of the smartest and funniest comedic and journalistic minds around, well then, this show is going to make you all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think we can use that.
Sure we can. Go to Apple Podcasts to listen and subscribe.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we're putting it on wax. It's the new style.
Together.
Hello, the Internet. It's Jack O'Brien, the founder and former editor-in-chief of Crack.com and the host of the new comedic news podcast, The Daily Zeitgeist, which, as the name suggests, is daily and sporadically in German. If you like cracked, How Stuff Works podcasts and want to get your news from some of the smartest and funniest comedic and journalistic minds around, well then, this show is going to make you all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think we can use that.
Sure we can. Go to Apple Podcasts to listen and subscribe.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we're putting it on wax. It's the new style.
Together, we're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We get a fine individual that we're so very fortunate have supported our program and our movement for 6 years. Exactly what they want, when they need it, radio, podcast, or television.
Happy Friday, everybody. Well, you remember 10 games into the season when the Cavs were 4-6 and everything was falling apart and we were concerned about LeBron and where's he going to go next year and everything. He posted that Arthur meme online. Well, guess what? Since then, they have gone 10-1. They have been on a tear. And then there was this game against the Hawks, the latest victim of LeBron and the Cavs, blocking shots. And then there's the volleyball spike block that he had on Taurean Prince. Jalen, the Cavs seem to be clicking on all cylinders. What has been the key to the Cavs turnaround?
A level of familiarity with the players around them. When you understand who's going to be out, so far it's been Isaiah Thomas, then Tristan Thompson, then Derrick Rose. It allows Ty Lue, it allows LeBron to survey the team and understand who's going to be available each night and how they can maximize each performer. But we all know it starts and ends with the greatness of LeBron James. As efficient as he's ever been from the floor, knocking down threes, giving you the points, the rebounds, the assists. You talked about the blocks and the leadership. But then Kevin Love, his productivity always gets overlooked. Posting up, making threes, grabbing boards. Jeff Green slashing in transition, finishing plays. J.R. Smith chipping in when he can. Dwayne Wade finding ways to be productive off the bench. It's been a collective team effort led by the King.
The Cavaliers are making a 12 threes a game. That is good for third in the league. LeBron James during this streak has shot 47.5% from three. Are the Cavs going to live or die by the three?
Not at all. This is what they've done the last couple of seasons, and it's made them so very successful. LeBron James basically likes a couple of performers out there with him. Either guys that are going to be energy players like Tristan Thompson that don't need the ball, that are going to rebound, hustle, and block shots and defend, or guys that are shooters. And when you surround the floor with shooters and LeBron James, now you have to make a choice. And that's what defenses have been put in the quandary of trying to stop LeBron from getting to the paint, which he's been doing at a high rate, finishing, and even making his free throws, or kicking it out to open teammates where they can be productive. And also another player that they've been missing is Iman Shumpert as well.
Exactly. Well, you mentioned Dwayne Wade, and he looked pretty washed early in the year, but he has turned it around. And LeBron James spoke with The Athletic, and he offered a very revealing quote about the Cavs players' reaction to the addition of Dwayne Wade. LeBron said, quote, "There was a couple guys with it, but it wasn't a lot. I still know what he's capable of doing. Why wouldn't you want another guy in the locker room that brings a championship mentality and a guy who can still play? So, of course, it bothered me, but bleep it. It is what it is." Jalen, why do you...
Sanders has 8. Big shout to the OG. And the reason why I'm giving him love, because I know who he is, most of you guys don't. And for Robert Horry, while being a trailblazer, and let me give him a different accolade, Tom Chambers, along with Robert Horry, and I'll say Detlef Schrempf, if I remember this correctly, and Derek McKee, to a certain extent, were players that I considered, and Tony Kukoc were like original stretch fours. And he got a chance to play alongside Hakeem Olajuwon, win a couple of championships. Then the Lakers were like, we need to pick him up. Then the Spurs was like, we need to scoop him up. And he won a couple of chips with them. So with that being said, a terrific career, but I agree with you and our esteemed caller from Kentucky. Not the type of individual accolades that warrant Hall of Fame, but man, when you count championship Hall of Fame rings, he's in.
We'll be back on Monday on Jalen Jacoby on ESPN2.
Thank you. You are far too kind.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.